Folks, we already have nerfs and buffs for Battlegrounds.
Hey, buddy, watch this.
Yeah, not only have they been announced, they've apparently already been deployed as well. We saw some crazy changes mid Battlegrounds run with like our mama bear getting nerfed right in the middle of a run, which is kind of crazy, but there are 5 big time changes. They're going to have major meta impacts. So let's go ahead and jump into these. Up first here, of course, is Mama Bear, and she is going from a 5/5 that buffs everything by 5/5 down to a 4/4 that buffs everything by 4/4, and when she's gone golden, instead of being 10/10 and 10/10, she's going to go to 8/8 that buffs by 8/8. So keeping that doubling effect there on the golden version. And clearly this is a big nerf. It's a 20% nerf to Mama Bear going from 5 to 4. And that's impactful. But here's the deal. I still think Mama Bear is going to be a great card. Of course, there will be that occasional fight where that number difference matters, and that does make her a little weaker and healthier. But we were playing her as a 4/4 buff, and she was still creating ridiculous boards, still won us a game right in the middle of the deployment. And I don't think that's going to change. I think she'll remain a centerpiece for beast builds. Again, the power level pulls down. That's good. That's a great change, but still a powerful and probably occasionally frustrating minion that's going to define some late game wins. Now, our next minion change, this one's a little bit stranger. This is a surprise, and I'll note that this patch was apparently determined before Battlegrounds got into anybody's hands, so I think these notes are based on internal playtests, and for some reason, Kangaroos Apprentice here getting changed to a 3/6 from a 4/8. That will also remain the same doubling effect when golden, so it'll go to a 6/12 instead of a 4/16, although the card text will remain the same in both cases. And just a small little tweak here to Kangaroo Apprentice's stats. Now, some might argue that this is a buff because she's a death rattle minion that you want to die, and reducing her health could be interpreted as a buff because it's easier for her to get killed. That's a fine argument to make. I don't think it's an accurate one, though, for a couple reasons. One, in the kind of late game style scenarios where Kangaroos is going to be played, as a tier 6 unit, she's usually going to die at 8 health anyway. It's not hard to kill off things at 8 health. There's 40 minions everywhere, right? So I don't really think it changes her survivability profile all that much. Plus, if you were going to try to buff her by reducing her health, then why not maybe bump up her attack in the meantime so she takes trades better? Why not make her like a 6/6 if this is really intended to be a buff and not a nerf? So I think this is a nerf that for some reason or another, Kangaroos Apprentice was really powerful in Blizzard's internal playtesting. They thought she was a little too good, so they're trying to tweak her. It doesn't feel appropriate to me right now because I don't think she's one of the stronger options out there. She pops in a build sometimes, but certainly isn't a build around. Does not feel like a cap-off piece for mechs. Most mech builds are doing the junk bot thing around tier 4. They never even go to this point where this is relevant. She's only good with Sneeds, and Foe Reaper really as awesome mechs to bring back, and those aren't that great either, although Foe Reaper can be. Sneeds is not very meta relevant either. So all in all, this felt unnecessary, but I think it doesn't really change the impact of the card all that much, so it's still completely fine in my mind, and maybe Blizzard has seen something that we haven't quite seen yet, or they know something's on the horizon that could really change the power level of this one, so I'm just going to trust them in this case. So now let's move on to some hero and hero power changes. I think the most noteworthy one up first here, this is Toki. And there's a little bit of miscommunication here, so listen to me before you read this hero power and freak out. The hero power for Toki is actually going to be the same. Now, the hero power I'm showing you on screen right now does not look the same. That's because this is utilizing the actual patch note text that Blizzard put out. That's the text they put in the patch notes. In reality, the wording is going to get changed, but Toki is still going to give you a higher tier unit, even though this particular text does not indicate that very clearly. So basically I went with the official text, but this official text has already been confirmed by multiple Blizzard employees and the actual data in the game client itself to be incorrect. So she's still going to give you a higher tier unit, but she's going to do it at a cost of 2 instead of 1. So of course that's significantly worse because now it's costing more than a normal reroll. I think it's still going to be good because the odds of getting those tier 6 units and tier 5 units a couple rounds earlier are very, very powerful. You hit that Mama Bear early, boom. You hit the Light Fang Enforcer early, boom. Your build is done. You only need it a couple times. So a little bit of an extra tax here on that really powerful hero power effect, but I think it remains incredibly powerful. It's still going to be a great one. She may not be the far and away best hero, as we saw in our hero tier list from all the pro players who said she was clearly the best. But I think she will still be good and relevant and still something you can choose even at 2 gold because the upside here is way too high. Just ignore this card text. She's the same, but more expensive. And that's still really, really good. So now let's move on to Mukla getting a big time buff here. Mukla is now going to give you a banana when you buy a beast, not when you sell a beast. So essentially, Mukla now is going to give you bananas much, much faster because often what would happen is you'd buy the beast and you wouldn't sell them for a while. You'd just be using them on board because you need the stats on board. And the bananas don't show up until, maybe 3-4 turns down the road and you kind of stack them up and you target something. Now you get those bananas immediately, which gives you a very powerful early game power spike. You can start dominating early boards quite efficiently with your Mukla. Not only that, but late in the game, you don't actually have to utilize a board spot now. You can just grab a unit, get the banana, and play it without ever actually having to commit the minion, which can be nice. You can just buy some beasts and go to town buffing a semi-complete board. So absolutely, I think this makes Mukla really interesting with cards like Cave Hydra, just maybe giving your Scavenging Hyena some extra health and buff, maybe even just buffing a pack leader because you want it to stay alive on board. Remember, the target doesn't have to be a beast. So it supports beast builds really, really nicely. And it probably just supports other things too. Like you don't have to necessarily go beast with Mukla anymore. It's obviously going to make the most sense, but you can just occasionally buy a beast and get a banana, even if you happen to get stuck into a non-beast build. There are still some ways to utilize this fairly successfully. So Mukla now to me looks like a really strong hero. I thought he was near the bottom tier personally, and most people agreed that he wasn't great, and now I think he becomes very, very powerful. I think Mukla could be a top 5 hero now, potentially, as we see this in action. I'll need to see it more, but my first gut take is that this is going to make him really, really good because Beast is going to remain a relevant archetype and a very powerful composition. Mukla supports it perfectly with a great hero power. That's A+ kind of stuff. So next up here we have Jeraxxus, and his hero power is going to 2 gold from 3, although the text remains the same. Right now, I still think this isn't good enough at 2 gold just because demons as an archetype are only okay. It's hard to play for those really late game wins with demons. They're just too susceptible to Divine Shield and Poisonous right now. All their big health totals just get melted and they don't trade particularly favorably. And in particular, +1/+1 isn't that great on a Battle Master that's got like 120 health, right? It just doesn't add up all that fast. There are other buff cards that give you almost a similar return for this kind of gold investment anyway, so why not use a buff card that gives you that kind of return while also using a hero power that does something else for you, right? You can use this gold on another hero, so there's quite a bit of opportunity cost to consider here, even at 2 gold. And remember, buff cards do only cost 2 gold because you get to sell them back for 1. So it's a net cost of 2, the same as this hero power. So the fact that this walks you down a really narrow path still isn't that much better than normal ways to spend your gold, costs you other opportunities. I still think even at 2, this one's not all that strong. It might be too good at 1 mana or 1 gold, so there's some breakpoint here that's going to make this hard. Maybe if this gave your demons +1/+2, that could really start to stack up a lot faster, and that would make it awesome. But for now, I think Jeraxxus still remains kind of bottom third of all heroes. He's certainly a little better. I'm not saying you can't win games with him, just still not like, going to be a tier 1 option, but does pull him back to a healthier place perhaps than he was previously, where he was really, I think, one of the weaker heroes in the entire game. And there you go. A little bit of confusion with these patch notes. Don't exactly understand Kangaroos. Toki's had some weird wording and mistakes and stuff, but nonetheless, exciting to see changes. I think mostly these are going to be good changes for the game. Kind of scared of Mukla, but I want to play him to see what it's like. That said, I'm playing tons of Battlegrounds right now. Please come hang out on my Twitch if you want to watch me play Battlegrounds. We've been top 25, top 30 pretty much since Battlegrounds came out, and even higher sometimes. So some fairly good gameplay, although I'm certainly not perfect. That said, there's going to be lots more Battlegrounds videos and other Hearthstone stuff coming too. So if you're enjoying things, please hit the subscribe button. We're going to do a celebration for 75,000 subscribers soon. Stay tuned for a big giveaway, and we're going to push to 100,000 before we can, before too long, I hope anyway. And we're going to do another big giveaway when we get there too, probably $1,000 total. Crazy stuff. So all that said, guys, thanks so much for watching this. Have fun out there in the Battlegrounds. Share your thoughts on these notes and other changes you might like to see in the game. But until then, thank you for watching, and until next time, game on.